Assalamu alaikum. Brother and sister, welcome back to Islamic Notes channel. American doctor dumped by wife for converting to Islam, now happy with new family. American doctor Dr. Laurence Brown shares his story of his struggle to live as a convert. Yes, because there are many people who are not accepted because of the matter of changing religions. Laurence Brown said that his wife left him after he became a Muslim. The divorce made Brown lose everything at that time. My ex-wife divorced me. She took custody of the kids. In the process, I lost my house, my property, my car. You know, this is like a country song because I lost my dog, said Laurence Brown. But for the 62-year-old doctor, his real-life problems were not like those in the song, where he lost his ex-wife and his dog. In reality, the problems he experienced were traumatic. After the divorce, Brown lived in a studio apartment that was not suitable for living. That's where he met a friend who was in the same boat as him. Interestingly, instead of feeling miserable because his wife left him, the moment he moved and lived in the apartment became a happy moment for him. Why? I remember looking around and wondering what the hell was wrong with me. I mean, in the movies, when you get divorced, you go into a tailspin. You start punching walls and crashing your car. You're helpless, but I was happy, she said. Brown explained that it was through his prayers to Allah that he remained happy even in difficult circumstances. Indeed, our Creator speaks the truth, and Allah promises in this religion that we do not give up anything in His name, but He replaces it with something better, he said. So once he became a Muslim, he was indeed divorced. However, Brown believes that God gave him a good replacement. Divorce had cost him everything, but Laurence Brown was confident that God would provide a good replacement. As soon as I became a Muslim, I was divorced. However, Allah gave me another wife. I lost my children because of a court decision in my previous family. Allah gave me another child and a new family, he said. I lost my job. Allah replaced it with a better job. I lost my house because of divorce. Allah gave me a house in the Holy Land of Medina. I never felt like I lost anything because Allah replaced it with something that He thought was better, said Brown. Previously, Brown also shared how his parents reacted when he converted. Yes, in the Western world, Brown admitted, when someone becomes a convert, then of course he will face difficulties. I remember in the early days of becoming a Muslim, I felt an incredible sense of peace and comfort, and that feeling has never left me. But my worldly life was shattered, Brown said. Hearing that his son had become a Muslim, his parents apparently could not understand Brown's choice. Likewise, their reaction to his brother having become a Muslim before Brown converted. Laurence Brown's parents apparently could not understand their son's choice. The same was true of their parents' reaction when Brown's siblings became Muslims before Brown converted. And he was the one who really introduced me to Islam. We were just two siblings, me and my brother. So when I became Muslim, my parents felt like they were losing their other child to Islam, Brown recalled. Although his parents are not devout Christians, they feel that Brown's conversion to Islam was a disaster for their lives. His parents wanted no further contact with his siblings or even Brown himself. I remember one time we got a message where we were told not to visit, not to call, not to send letters, not to postcards, not to email, not to anything, he said. Besides his parents, in a short time his friends abandoned him. So he was ostracized by his friends and family. He also received different treatment at work. However, the incident did not last forever. Thanks to the prayers that were offered, his parents' hearts slowly melted. Now his parents have established good communication with him. I didn't lose my parents forever. We finally got to talk again, and I feel like our relationship is much better now than it was before, Laurence Brown said. Starting from seeing a miracle on the operating table, this man finally decided to convert to Islam. After being an atheist, not believing in God for quite some time, Dr. Laurence Brown finally decided to become a convert, converting to Islam. It started from his child's operating table. What's the story like? Check out the following review, quoted from the YouTube broadcast Muslim Ahad. These signs were there since Dr. Laurence Brown had a child named Christina. Unlike most babies, the princess was able to stand upright when she was just born while being held. He has an ability that I have never seen in babies before. He could stand on his first day after birth. So I lifted him up and he could stand on his own, upright on his 2 feet, he said. Yes, I am a doctor. I know that usually newborns cannot stand like that, but I did not see it as a miracle. I saw it as something interesting, something funny. I could not catch God's message, he continued. Then when his second daughter was born, Allah showed another miracle to the atheist doctor. Dramatically, the princess was born with a serious health condition. There was a narrowing of her blood vessels, causing poor blood circulation, which made her body turn pale blue, lacking oxygen. After knowing my second daughter's body was blue, I was really worried. I saw from her chest to her toes it was blue-gray. She was dying. Her body was lacking oxygen. When Laurence Brown saw his daughter's critical condition, of course, as a doctor, he knew what to do. He knew that such a condition required emergency surgery. Hannah, the princess, was taken to the operating table. Dr. Laurence and the doctors surrounded the poor baby. Then the internist called a heart surgeon from another hospital. At that time, Laurence was asked to leave the room because it would be very emotional to see his own daughter, who was going to be operated on, and that would not help. Laurence left the room. He felt he needed more energy to face the situation. Until finally this doctor, who did not believe in religion or God, finally started praying, calling out the name of God, and the miracle began. I remember once, when I entered that room, I prayed seriously for the first time in my life. I just pray, oh God, if you are there, help me. I promise that if God helps my daughter, and if God, guides me to a religion that he likes, I will follow. Laurence prayed for about 15 minutes. He was surprised to hear the explanation of the heart surgeon, who said that his daughter was fine and did not even need surgery. Laurence had a hard time accepting the explanation, which he thought didn't make sense. I just prayed for the first time seriously in my life, and I just believe it happened because of God's help, he said. That was the starting point for Laurence to find out about religion. He began to study all religions until Islam became the last religion he studied. Laurence felt that he had found all the reasonable answers until finally he declared his faith, deciding to become a convert, converting to Islam. I studied Islam and the Prophet Muhammad, and suddenly everything made sense. Everything fell into place. In Islam, I found the answers I was looking for about the application of the revelations that were sent down. I found Islam as the conclusion of a series of revelations, he said. Dr. Laurence Brown admits deciding to declare Shahada after Istikhara prayer. I am Dr. Laurence Brown. Many people ask about what happened after I became a Muslim. I remember when I became a Muslim, I got a great sense of peace and comfort, and that feeling continued to envelop me. But my worldly life turned into chaos. My parents did not understand the reason why I converted to Islam, but my brother had become a Muslim first, and he was actually the one who introduced Islam to me. And we were the only ones who became Muslims. When I became a Muslim, my parents felt like they had lost their child because of Islam. My parents were atheists, but they felt uncomfortable seeing me convert to Islam. And my friends left me. My parents didn't want to have anything to do with me and my siblings. I remember one time I got a message from them that we should no longer visit, call, write letters, postcards, emails, or anything. In any case, they didn't want us to contact them. So I was ostracized by my friends. I was shunned by my family. I was treated differently at work, and my ex-wife divorced me, and she took my kids. Of course, in the process, I also lost my house, I lost my property, I lost my car. This sounds like a country song, because I also lost my dog. We used to have some nice furniture. We had a guest house. I used to have all of this, but then I was living in a studio apartment that was rented weekly, and when you went up the stairs or tried the elevator, the floor creaked. So you can imagine the quality of it and the people who lived there. And not only were they living in this miserable studio apartment, but they were sharing it with other friends whose wives were divorced and were having a hard time. And the funny thing is, those were the happiest days of my life. I thought, what's wrong with me? I mean, in the movies, when you get a divorce, you're so sad, you start punching walls and maybe crashing your car. But I was happy. In fact, those were some of the happiest days of my life. And I remember before I became a Muslim, I performed the Istikhara prayer, the prayer for guidance. I asked Allah to choose and guide me to the best and make me happy with it. And after that, I realized the Creator's love when He answered our prayers, how completely he answered them, because he had chosen the best for me. And not only that, in an incident that should have made me dislike it, but he made me happy. Of course, our Creator speaks the truth, and we are promised in this religion that we do not give up anything in the name of Allah, except that He will replace it with something better. When I became a Muslim, I got divorced, but Allah gave me another wife. In my first family, I lost my child due to a court decision, but Allah gave me another child and a new family. I was fired from my job because of anti-Muslim prejudice in the military where I worked. I felt I could not continue because of the prejudice of my coworkers. I resigned from my job, but Allah gave me another job that was many times better. I lost my house because of divorce. Allah gave me a new house in the holy city of Medina. I lost my wealth. Allah multiplied my wealth. I did not feel the loss because Allah replaced it with something better. And finally, my parents were willing to talk to me again. My relationship with my parents became better than before. So no one gives up something for the sake of Allah, except that Allah will give you something better. There may be hard times that you have to go through before you get the benefit. But when you get the benefit, subhanAllah, you will realize the complete mercy of the Creator. Another question that people ask is, what does Islam mean to me? For me, Islam is a religion that teaches simplicity and humility, submission to God, but also submission in the general sense, submission to the one who knows better. You know, I grew up in the West in a culture that sometimes challenges those in power, but the fact is, this is a detrimental thing. Autocratic people think for a reason. They are the ones who are more knowledgeable or more experienced. And if you constantly question them and challenge them, it makes things even harder for all of us. So I feel that Islam is a religion that makes human relations orderly. I feel that Islam is a religion of peace. Before I converted to Islam, I didn't find peace in my life. Before I converted to Islam, I was interested in seeing knives. I was interested in seeing guns. I used to play paintball because I was in the military. I watched Rambo, Commando, James Bond, and so on. But then after I became a Muslim, suddenly I was no longer interested in such things. I sold or gave away my guns and all my knives. Even now, I don't like to see the tip of a knife. Even my wife gets upset because I took all the kitchen knives and broke the tips. Honestly, I don't understand what the point of a kitchen knife is. Nobody uses it, and it's dangerous. My life went from being chaotic to a peace that I had never experienced before. And I became a man with peace in his heart, at peace with the people around me, and at peace with society in general. Maybe this sense of peace is because Islam is the love of our Creator, so it is Allah who gives us this sense. When you feel that you are doing the right thing, recognizing our Creator, and worshiping Him the way He wants, then peace will enter your life. Then people often ask me, which Islamic group I belong to? But I was never interested in joining any group. There are many Islamic groups, but I never really joined any group. I guess because I am a loner, that's who I am, and I'm happy with it. And Islam gives us the right to be who we are. When I became a Muslim, I changed my life from being very unoriented to worldly pleasures to a life where I pursue peace, not only for myself, but also for the people around me, and to develop myself as a Muslim, and to spread the message of Islam. This does not mean that everyone has to accept it. Our duty is only to spread the message of Islam. I think everyone has their own right to freely choose their own religion. We as humans want to treat others the way they treat us. So we should tolerate people's freedom of religion as long as they are not destructive. If possible, do it towards a global ethic, a universal code that can be accepted by everyone, transcending religious and cultural boundaries where every human being can be tolerant. That is what I want to achieve.